Two Lebanese nationals kidnapped by gunmen from a construction site in Ogbia local government area of Bayelsa State on Tuesday have been released by the abductors. The police commissioner in the state, Mr. Paul Okafor, told Channels Television that the kidnappers abandoned their foreigners with this evening after a sustained police surveillance on them. The gunmen had approached the dredging site in Riverside Town in two speedboats, killing two policemen guarding the site in a gunfight, snatched the two foreign workers and fled in the craft. This is the second attack on expatriate workers in Ogbia local government area of Bayelsa State in the last 8 months.
Authoritatively that success story is being told now as I speak, following intensive pressure from the police and sister agencies. The hoodlums, the kidnappers, were forced to abandon them. And as I speak, confidently I will tell you that the expatriates have just been rescued. The expatriates have just been rescued. That's a good story I'm telling now. And to God Almighty be the glory. No ransom whatsoever was paid. And there is a very good health condition. They are healthy. Perfect health condition. We are after them. They are criminals and hoodlums. There's no one will let go because the men have been rescued. We remember that we lost two of our men. We will not leave anything to chance. We will do all within our powers to ensure that the hoodlums are brought to book.
Well, it looks like a tit-for-tat affair when the Speaker of the Benue State House of Assembly today ordered Channels Television's correspondent out of the Assembly chamber. The ejection of Pius Agbo from the House may not be unconnected with the report aired by Channels Television on Tuesday showing the free-for-all amongst the lawmakers during plenary. On arrival at the Assembly chamber today, our correspondent was asked by the press secretary and the sergeant-at-arms to leave. Every other journalist who came for the plenary was allowed in except for Channels Television crew. In spite of the House clerk's intervention, the press secretary insisted that the Speaker, Honorable Tenkembe Kenge, did not approve of Channels Television's coverage of the Assembly. Well, civil servants and pensioners in Osun State may soon heave a sigh of relief. This is because the state government has assured them that it will pay the salaries owed them by the end of this month. At a conference called to intimate party members on the current situation of the state economy, the chairman of the All Progressives Congress Osun State Chapter, Mr. Boyega Famodun, appealed to the workers to maintain calm as the financial crisis in the state would soon be a thing of the past.
Filled with a lot of enthusiasm and optimism, members of the All Progressive Congress and some of the civil servants in Osun State gathering to get a first hand on what the plans of the state government is over the unpaid salaries.
We will pay all money owed. We will pay all money owed. It's an obligation to us as government, and we will pay everything.
The state government may have made their promise to pay the workers their salaries soon, but it's silent on how many months it can afford to offset out of the 8 months owed the workers. However, the leadership of the labor union expects to be paid at least 5 months of salary.
We have been having meetings, unofficial meeting, but that was the first official meeting in which the issue of salary in Broglo was discussed. We understand the precarious situation in which the state government finds himself. We also understand the efforts that the government has been making in order to make ends meet. But we have to tell them that we are agitating for the minimum of 5 months salaries out of the 8 months they are owing us.
In recent times, donated food items go to the victims of insurgency. But this time, some will find it ironic that the workers, particularly the teachers in Osun State, will have to depend on these donated food items to feed their families.
This crucial time, many people need many things. You know, for a civil servant not to receive salary for 7 months, you know what it means.
I think we want to thank the donor for this timely intervention. He has done a lot, and with this he has donated, it's a good along with us, at least allay the sufferings of the workers, especially teachers in the zone.
While the food items continue to come in, the workers can only pray that the state government keep to its promise of paying them their salaries very soon.
Well, the story of unpaid workers' wages by some state governors has, among other things, raised questions on the accounting practice of these states. On our big story tonight, our correspondent Harriet Agbenyi reports that there have been strong calls for more states to be transparent in reporting their finances, especially those generated internally.
Demands that have reverberated across most states in Africa's most populated and largest oil-producing country. Over 15 states reportedly owe workers their monthly wages, pensions and gratuities ranging from between 1 to 10 months. The amounts owed are not clear, but some media reports put the amount at over 110 billion naira in total.
There should be a point where the informed populace can raise red flags to say you are veering off targets, you are in trouble, and if this is on an amber position, you will soon get to red. So I think this problem has been coming up in the past. If you look at Arabeshola's recent lamentations to say we've been on the shortage for the last 2 years, we've been trying to pad it for the last 18 months and things like that. Nobody saw that. Nobody was able to tell him this is what you need to do. If you need to renegotiate your bond terms, if you need to renegotiate your loan terms, if you need to prune your civil service, if you need to adopt some new technologies to reduce your waste.
A recent report on states' internally generated revenue for 2014 by the Bureau of Statistics shows 23 out of 36 states have turned in data for the period. 13 states are yet to report on their IGRs as at June 2015. States like Abia, reported to owe workers, has not reported its IGR for 2013 or 2014 fiscal year.
If you know you as a governor can't manage the state and you have turned into a point of bankruptcy, leave. And let's get an expert opinion, to do it. But now we don't even have that constitutional background to even guide us. So we can't even go that way. So what we can do now is open your books. Let's get experts. We have people who could be very versed in this. Take experts and let them sit down and look through your books. Let them dig through it and say, this is where you need to. Because in times of austerity, you need to strongly adjust.
Following cries for a federal government bailout and refund for federal projects executed in the various states, President Buhari met with the state governors. The president set up a committee headed by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo to review the contents of the excess crude account to provide a lifeline and offset the burden of the state's unpaid wages.
I know that the president has to put the treasury for us to take money, because it's not as if the federal government itself is buoyant. Everybody is talking about how much we have lost as a people. But much more importantly is that he has a clear roadmap as to how all of this can be brought to an end so that this government will start on a clean slate.
Collapse in oil revenues has put a strain on the excess crude account and monthly government disbursements. According to EcoBank Nigeria analyst report, the ability to utilize excess crude account funds is limited, which pushes pressure onto utilizing some forex reserves that has also depleted about $2.5 billion since the new year. The federal and state governments face difficult choices. The cost of governance is a heavy one.
The accounting system of governments in Nigeria must change. There is no way a governor with his accountant general and a few other officials will just decide what happens to the monies of a state. I think that some of these charges must be consolidated. In other words, as the state is getting money from federal allocation, the allocation committee already knows how much of this is for salaries, and they can go directly to such accounts.
The days ahead are a tough one for Buhari's fledgling administration, who has to also contend with macroeconomic headwinds. But how the state's unpaid backlog of salaries is handled might make all the difference. For the big story, Harriet Agbenyi, reporting for Channels Television News.
I will now move on to business news on the news at 10 with Adeshawa Josh.
First Bank. You first.
Good evening. Welcome to Business News. I am Adeshewa Josh. Nigeria's business confidence index continues to grow, the highest in the month of June, as sales and market growth indices also climb despite the challenges of inflationary pressures and volatile crude oil market. A new set of economic data just released by the UK's World Economics shows that headline gauge of Nigeria's economic activity shot up to 65.2 this month, and that's the highest level since December 2014. The survey shows that the degree of optimism in the local businesses picked up to its highest value since February 2014, while expectations of increased opportunities for sales and development were reported by the private sector despite the plunge in oil prices. In the meantime, the loser streak at the Nigerian equities market continues as the all-share index shed 0.44% to close at 33,121.65 points. Christy Cole has the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Nigeria's equities market recorded another loss, shedding 0.44% to bring the all-share index to 33,121.65 points. Investor sentiment was mixed across the gainers chart as total tops with a share price appreciation of 4.1%, raising its share price by 6 naira 50 kobo. Nestle gained 15 kobo while Mansard went up 14 kobo. Forte Oil made a 3.2% share price slip, shedding 56 naira 99 kobo. Guinness lost 4 naira 90 kobo. Better Glass comes next with a naira 86 kobo loss from its share price. On the volumes chart, Unilever tops trade selling 36 million units. Guarantee Bank sold 32.8, while UBA follows with exchange of 31 million shares. At the close of trading, over 306.5 million shares had been exchanged in 3,435 deals for 5.1 billion naira. And that's the Stock Market Report. I am Christy Cole.
Thank you, Christy Cole. The European Union has announced the availability of 150 million euros grant for the nation's power sector. Speaking at an interactive session with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission in Abuja, the team leader of the EU delegation, Mr. Peter Cameron, said the delegation are exploring possible areas of assistance to address the country's power challenge. The chairman of NERC, Dr. Sam Amadi, however, says the commission will study the details of the grant and decide on how best the offer could be accessed, that is, and optimally utilized.
We're representing the European Union delegation. There's a program called Sustainable Energy for All. They have a grant facility of 150 million euros, and we're investigating projects for access to electricity and how best the European Union can make an impact and help Nigeria get better access to electricity. We're looking at the bottlenecks and also coming up with potential projects that the European Union can help.
What we've done about the supply, what we think you guys could consider is the embedded generation aspect of it before I talk about renewable. We do know that even if we have all the gas we need, and we have all the transmission services capability, in the next 2-3 years, we cannot do more than 9,000 megawatts. But that's really what the power plant's capabilities on the ground in the grid is all about. So we've licensed 30,000 megawatts of power, with the good framework we have set in place with the market support institutions working. These licenses would obviously, in the next 4 or 5 years, 3, 4, 5 years, come to the market.
The Securities and Exchange Commission has mandated all officials of BGL Group to appear before its Administrative Proceedings Committee for explanations on more than 40 allegations of infractions against investors. The summons, which is contained in a press release and made available on the Commission's website, is scheduled for August the 4th and 5th. This directive on BGL Group follows the expiration of an interim order from the Federal High Court to reverse the initial suspension mandate of the BGL Group. The Commission further reiterates that BGL Group and its sponsored individuals remains suspended from capital markets activities for questionable investments with losses of about 48 billion naira. The Kwara State Governor, Alhaji Abdul Fattah Ahmed, has signed a bill establishing the state's Internal Revenue Service. Well, the new law repeals the order establishing the State Bureau of Internal Revenue. While signing the law, Governor Ahmed states that the establishment of a revenue court in the new bill will assess and enforce payment of due taxes, levies and charges in the state. Governor Ahmed says that this is to harmonize tax administration and control revenue matters of common interest to state and local government authorities. Well, the Central Bank of Nigeria has withdrawn foreign exchange allocation for importers of some goods into the country. Importers of such goods, which falls into 41 categories, are expected to source their foreign exchange privately. Governor of the bank, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, who spoke with reporters in Abuja, said that the bank's decision is targeted at improving local production and consumption of the goods, which will in turn create jobs for the nation's youth. That'll be all on Business News tonight. The news at 10 continues in a moment.
First Bank. You first.
When the news at 10 returns, officials of badminton in Nigeria are hopeful that the Lagos Classic will improve the sports in the country. That's on Sports News. Stay with us.